before we start, I'm just gonna extend the announcements a bit for new people that how we do our work here. So we're going to have this lecture, and our lectures here are just as our talk today is quite flexible. So we at any time you can ask any questions, interrupt the comments respectfully, and that's all good. It's more like a talk, and the lecturer is more like a facilitator. Then after that, we have what we call the prayer box prayer, which is a box that we keep at the front, and people can put their names or names of other people that they would like some prayers to. So at the end of the lecture, we bring the box to the center, and then we just do this special prayer for that. And then after that, we have the healing passes, which that happen behind our screen there. And we might have someone here that just guide you in groups to receive some good energy from our workers and from the spiritual team through our workers. Yeah. Okay, so let's start. So today we're going to talk about the power of flexibility, and that's a very interesting topic to me, and I think for all of us, because I think if we really stop for a minute and think, we can find many areas in our life that we could be more flexible. So the idea here is to explore what is flexibility, in some ways, and what's the good pros and cons of having a more flexible life. Yeah. So, my thing going here. So, first, I would like to talk about the power of flexibility in the context of change. So in a way, like change happen in our lives, like changing old habits or changing ideas, or not changing old habits or not changing ideas. Adapting to new situations and changes in life that requires a degree of flexibility. Nothing is really permanent. Everything is changing around the world and around us all the time. And we have to adapt all the time. It's many things are forced upon us anyway. So we need this degree of flexibility to be able to do that, to adapt. So as I said, to change old habits, old ideas, to change life circumstances. For example, to change the country where you're gonna live, or even the city, even the house, whatever move you can make in terms of living, changing workplace, changing, exposing yourself to different policies or rules, all those changes, it all requires a level of flexibility. So I have here a picture, very interesting picture, very related to Australian and Brazilian people, and it's just what they call the W curve. So that's just representing, let's say, a student from any country anyway, leaving their home at the left top of this curve, and then arriving in Australia, and then at the bottom, then there is a culture shock. Who of us, except from Lara, who was born here, and Colleen and Yvonne didn't, didn't go through that culture shock. Yeah. So then we may or may not be feeling unhappy for a while. I remember I had that very big especially in the food area. Like I could not believe the food they eat here. I could not believe I could not find the food I wanted, and that was a big thing for me because it just threatened my survival mode, But then you start, you go to a restaurant and try a little bit more. I learned how to eat Thai food here. I love now, but at the time it was too spicy. But you try a little bit here, try there, and then you adjust. So you're gonna go up in that curve again. Then as a student, you finish your studies and it's time to go back home for those that go back home. So they leave Australia and arrive at their home country. And again, they have what they call reverse culture shock. So it's another time to adapt and adjust. So then it happens, and usually it's easier to adjust because it's not totally totally new. It's known, and then then life goes on. So it's just to see, just in this curve, that happens all the time in our lives. Every change we make, we have this W curve that we go through. And you need flexibility. I know not many, but I know at least few people that could not do it, could not stay in Australia. Some people may be missing too much the family and so on, but I know people that could not really adapt and adjust to this culture. So there was no flexibility for that in their lives. So flexibility enables progress as well through change. So change enables progress. No, progress means change. You need to change to progress. And flexibility enables change. So change enables progress. And flexibility enables progress. And changes, they happen organically in our societies, and when I say organically, some changes may be even planned, but some changes just happen as let's say human consciousness change and evolve. Change happen, and progress is made through that too. For example, let's give an example. Few centuries ago, we had slavery as a normal in our society, right? Agree? Yeah. It was normal. It was normal to enslave someone, imprison, torture, remove any rights based on ethnicity or the color of their skin, even religion, but especially in ethnicity and color of their skin. And that was normal in society. But that changed organically. There was a change in the understanding and the consciousness and the moral values of humanity, and that's not accepted anymore. And that's a progress, that's a moral progress that as in humanity took a step. And I know there is still places that still happen, but it's not accepted as a normal anymore, isn't it? Yeah, so Jackson just point out that is a recent change, and there was forever before that, forever time before that change when slavery happened. Death penalty, it still happens. I know that in America some states still have it, but if you again go a few centuries back, was a normal, was just another punishment, was totally accepted, and morally many societies and cultures do not accept anymore. Organically made change through consciousness evolution, and that's a progress. That's a moral progress. So this required flexibility. Flexibility from those people that were really pro-slavery centuries ago to change their minds. Flexibility from the children of these people that didn't accept that anymore as a norm and want to change. So there are also changes in terms of progress, changes in technological advance and advance in medicine, for example. So we all here are and were and still are impacted by technological change, right? It's crazy the speed of this. Only in my lifetime, which is quite short. I'm quite a young person. I can see back in time to now, dramatic change in technology. And that will continue, right? That's again, it's unstoppable, right? And it's good in some ways, and some ways may not as good. And again, opinions may differ. Some people may think, for example, some people may think 5G is a good thing, but 5G may not be a good thing for other people. And so that's one of the things that are controversial. That's a change in technology. But this same thing happened to everything. The cars that we drive, when they change, some people are against or in favor and so on. There will always be like this, right? But requires flexibility to adapt to those changes. And sometimes if we don't adapt to those changes, we're bringing hardship to our lives. There's some technology change and progress that we really cannot live without anymore. It's very hard, makes it very hard to live. Maybe if we are in a desert island, but in society, some things we cannot say no anymore in terms of technology and change that. So we have to be flexible to adapt to those things or move to a desert island. Exactly, yeah, it's big, it's a big thing too. But you still can survive. I'm sure it can, but I mean, it's going to be flexible there. In medicine as well. So I'm going to just short this because I have my police here in time, my time police. But medicine as well. Not same thing. There are some things, in health technology that some would agree, some would not agree. We have this big commotion and controversy around the vaccine, the COVID vaccine, and so on. It is a progress, is not, it's good or not, and so on. But how many of us had the choice, really? No, the choice we always have, but the choice is I'm going to lose my job if I don't do it. So I'm prepared to lose my job or be flexible. And that's a question. All right. Now, Hamed, in the book Pains of the Soul, he explores the subject of flexibility in reverse. So he actually talks about rigidity. So he talks about rigidity, which is the opposite of flexibility here. So he explored this subject in the context of acceptance. So are you flexible to accept or too rigid to accept? So my question here is, why do we need flexibility in the context of acceptance? Anyone would like to give some light on any reason why you think you need flexibility in the context of acceptance? Mm. Yeah, yeah. So Dai mentioned the acceptance in accepting change, and Carmel just mentioned that acceptance in the sense that you not always have to agree, and that's what I want to get the hook from Carmen, because it's really, because this reality that we live is really confusing and it's diverse at the same time. So that picture is quite interesting because depending on where you look or who is looking, you can see 3 or 4 panels. So we keep saying here, many times, we are all the same, we are all one, but we are not the same at the same time, isn't it? We may have different perspectives. We may see things from different angles and points of view. So we have different opinions. For example, we also can come from a cultural diversity. So we may look different, different habits. We have different values. We have totally different way to live. And both may be right. Exactly like the other picture. We may have different, different rituals or different ways that we do things, depending on our culture and societal upbringing, and all may be right. And then we also have the difference in our own society, in our own family, our own little universe, which we can call generation gap. So we have Generation Z, millennials, Generation X, baby boomers. We have some examples here. And now in the same family, they might be thinking totally different. And who is right, who is wrong? Huh? Were my parents right? If they were right, I'm wrong now. If I'm wrong, he's wrong. If I'm right, he's wrong. Right? So it's generation gap. And that's going to be different. And all may be right at that time. So the difference in attitude, behavior, perception, culture, language, priorities, social norms between generations. Now, Hamed says something about excess rigidity. And then he says, in severity, that is also a synonym, causes us to create a mental pattern that will influence others to treat us the same way we treat them. So if we are too rigid and we are not flexible, we end up treating others in a way that would attract the same treatment. So that it becomes a cycle of, rigidity in both ways. And where is our excess of rigidity and severity? Well, attachment to ideas, our likes, our dislikes, not accepting, lacking, or not accepting mistakes. Now, any attachment, that's the favorite word, Jackson's favorite word and favorite topic in the world. Any attachment denotates some lack of flexibility. Attached to anything, like I said, ideas, food. Attached to that thing cannot change. And what happens when we cannot have our way, like I said? We suffer. And what's bringing us suffer? The lack of flexibility to accept the different and the change. So relationship between the rigid people is usually tiring and unsatisfactory. That's Hamed's words. And also he says that people try to avoid rigid people and resent the fact that they cannot express their opinions. So you have a relationship with someone that you can never express your opinion. That's not a satisfactory relationship. You're going to run away from that at some point when you wake up, and so people do to you too. Another reason to bring more flexibility in our lives, to have more satisfactory relationships. And of course, lack of flexibility can cause war, can cause big things in the world, like big negative things in the world. If you think about it, war, especially war, look at the war that's happening now. Is that, no, I am right. No, I am right. No, that's mine. No, that's mine. It's no space to really peace to happen. When there is no peace, there is no flexibility. Let's see. So it can bring disrespectful relationships and destroy harmony. And sorry about this, I know it's very small, but I'm going to read what's saying there for people here in the room. And they both saying the same thing, by the way. If you don't follow my point of view or idea, everything will either get destroyed or turn into a mess. And then at the bottom say, hey, wake up. You are already destroying things and making mess all over. Now, just a little bit more from Hamed. Hamed explains that we exaggerate postures and learnings in an attempt to simulate an opposite character. And I probably have to say that psychology has to say things about that, probably. But that's Hamed saying in his book. So he gave some examples when, some rigidity may actually represent the opposite of is trying to represent. For example, excessive prudery, and prudery for Brazilian people here is pudor. Yeah. May be a compensation for repressed normal sexual desires. Excess of affability may be a compensation for repressed anger or aggression. Overfeeding may be a compensation for insecurity or need for protection. Excess of religion may be a compensation for demoralizing doubts existing in unconsciousness, and excessive domination may be a compensation for inner fragility and helplessness. So behind all excess or rigidity is the non-acceptance of the naturalness of life outside and within ourselves. And that's a message here. Now, let's be flexible. Have to, my time police here is just, clean. Yeah. Okay. Wrong and right. Another talk that we love here in Paris. Isn't it, Colleen? What is wrong, what's right? And we know, by now we know that at a conceptual level, wrong doesn't exist. It's just a different path. Huh? It's a different path. Of course, it may bring different experiences on the way, consequences, of course it is, but conceptually it's just a different path. There are two paths, and take one, take another one. Sorry? Well, we wouldn't have right if there was no wrong. We wouldn't have right if there was no wrong. Remember, like you need wrong to right to exist, and that's another philosophic. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we know that wrong doesn't exist. It's just a different path, but we estimate, even though we know, we will judge. We all will judge as wrong what we are not ready to accept according to our moral values and beliefs. Automatically. No, we will judge, oh no, that's not wrong, that's not right, according to my point of view or my beliefs or my moral values, right? Hamed referred to that when he says that one does wrong until they understand understand what they did as wrong. So before that, they don't see it as wrong. So in their reality, it was not wrong. So that's what this picture is representing, like is for that person that was not a big deal. Whatever happened there, he couldn't see the wrong on there. So the sentence here from Hamed is: the particular deeds and attitudes of each person relate to their physical, mental, social, and moral development. In other words, their understanding of wrong or right. And that's a personal understanding according to our consciousness. So our spiritual maturity is acquired through evolutionary experience throughout all time. So that's what we believe in Spiritism, isn't it? We just mature spiritually and evolve through our experience, through our lives. So whether in the present life or in another life in the past. And Hamed says, unquestionably, we are now doing the best we could because we are acting and thinking according to our inner convictions. In fact, our astral age is gradual because it is linked to our evolutionary perceptions. So basically, we are always doing the best and doing the right according to where we are, place we are. So, and I guess that is where Hamed wants to get here in terms of rigidity is in the judgment part, you know, like being too rigid, not flexible, and judging too harsh people. And that's why he mentioned this evolutionary maturity and so on. So people who act with austerity, harshness, strictness in a given circumstance believe that it is the best option to take. So then the other thing, if someone is too rigid, that's their space now anyway. So we are talking here about bringing more flexibility to our lives and all the goods and the need for it. But if you are not at some point, at some specific thing, again, what Hamed says here, that's your maturity. That's your spiritual maturity. So we can be flexible sometimes, we can stretch, be flexible in some areas, and some other areas we are not going to stretch now. So, however, spiritual evolution leads them to have a better understanding of human relationships. So, this regard, organically evolving, we will going to stretch. We will going to improve flexibility. So they will assimilate new ways of behaving and will begin to act in a way that is consistent with their new understanding. The conception of love expands according to your or our spiritual evolution. Hamed's word. And I'm finishing. So to finish today, I'd like just to summarize Hamed's message here in three sentences. So I would say that so acceptance is the ability to understand what is not for you. It's one of the things. But I would say that even though something doesn't seem to be for you, accept that you could open up a bit for it and try. So I'm going to repeat. Even though something doesn't seem to be for you, accept that you could open up a bit and try. And you may experience joy. You may experience a nice surprise. But if it is really not for you, right, then accept that it is just not for you now. And that would bring you peace. But if it is not for you, but it is for others, then accept that it is for others, despite that it is not for you. And that's love. So I finish here today, and I open any comments or questions from anyone. Thank you. How are you, Colleen? You want to gift us with any comment tonight?
It is always beautiful, Gisele. Thank you. Yes, acceptance is something that tingles in all of us. We all long to accept, but it is a hard journey because we want everyone to be like us, but it is not how creativity works. Yes, yes. yes. But the acceptance of the creativity of life demands for us, and yet it is gentle, because we will all find in the last judgment of everything. The last judgment is not God's judgment on us, but when we release judgment finally for each other, against each other, judgment against ourselves. Yes, yes. Acceptance that we are all part of the one, as you say, but so necessary for each of us to find our special place in the one. Yes, yes. As you say, honor and respect. Yes, yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Colleen. Thank you very much. Anyone else? Okay, so we move now to our prayer box, and I'll be facilitating that. So so if you have not put the name in the prayer box, but you remember someone now, please just imagine that you have that name there in the circle. Okay. So let's relax in the chair. Try to be comfortable so we can focus in the moment of now. And through this moment, we can connect with each other here, with Colleen virtually, with our mentors and guides spiritually. And this way we offer our light to this healing work, that through this prayer will happen. So I would like you to imagine a circle around us or in front of us, but a circle that you'd just put everything that may be worrying you, any concern, any hardship or difficulty or block in your life, anything you are experiencing or have experienced. And also let's put all the people who we want to direct our light in this healing process. So just visually put everything there in this circle and make a record in your mind of the picture that you are visualizing. So now let's also visualize a beautiful light, very bright, very clear, that showers from above in our circle and from our heart center. We're going to generate this immense love. So let's just think something we really love. And through this memory, we want to generate this love energy and compassion energy. Compassion energy is one of the highest vibrational energy, very close to pure love. So let's again have the intention to generate this beautiful compassion energy in our heart. And right now, let's direct this energy through the center of our circle. So all here together, and all workers that are helping us tonight through Pedro Manuel. We are all emanating this love, compassion through our circle and showering everything in our circle with that. So we have the light coming from above and the beautiful energy vibrating love from our heart center. Let's give a couple of seconds to visualize this as a cleaning spiral process. Everything in our circle being cleaned and cleared from all negativity, from any trouble, from all concerns, from all disease or illness. From all fear. And as we help this cleaning process happening, we witnessed everything turning up, turning lighter and positive. So the colors may change, the heaviness may change. So let's allow our sense to experience this change. Let's surrender to those changes in a very flexible way. Let's allow the universe to flow in the way it has to flow, washing and taking and dissolving all negativity in the circle. So let's give a big, deep breath. Breathe in and breathe out and let it go. And now slowly let's watch the transformation in our circle. The people we put there, the things we put there, are they still there? Are they gone? How the people are looking, all the changes. And let's keep that for ourselves. Let's thank the universe, God, Godness, our guides, Pedro Manuel and his team. Let's thank ourselves, our higher selves, for the work that we just did together. Maybe in a different way, but together. So that's done. And so it is. Amen. Thank you, Colleen.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.